The Magi in today's reading traveled a far and long distance. They traveled far to find Bethlehem, to find the place where the star, where the one promised would be born, God in the flesh. Heaven come down to earth. And their road was clear because it was marked with that star. And so they were able to follow that and achieve their goal. But we know in our own experience, gathered together as God's people, that not all roads lead to heaven and to the experience of Jesus Christ and the peace and the justice and the faith that Jesus brings to us. We know that those roads sometimes are very diverse and people wander through life. But we know from the experience of Christmas that there is not a means that God will not use to find us, to help us to get there. There is not one person on this earth, believer or unbeliever, on a scale of 1 to 10, anywhere on that spectrum, God reaches out to try to find all of those who know him well and those who may have never even heard of him. So it's true for a church-going person like us who are here, a single mother raising 3 children who maybe has never even been in a church, a farmer in the mountains of El Salvador, or a boy sled riding on a hill somewhere in camp, or a father getting up before the sun to go to work at 5:30 in the morning. God will use any means to touch the lives of those individuals. God will pursue them and pursue you because God's love is relentless. And we have to come to know that. God's love is absolutely relentless. God just never gives up on any one of us. Any one of the human beings that walk the face of this earth, because every human being is given that dignity by their Creator, created out of love. And it's God's will that none of those should be lost. Not one child should be lost, but all are to be saved. This came home to me very clear this week as I was reading about the Republic of the Congo and all of the difficulties that are having there, where they're recruiting children to fight, and the children being beheaded, children losing their lives and giving their lives, and children being used. Little children. Children 12 years old, 13 years old. How many are 12 and 13 right now in here? How many 12-year-olds do we have? How many 13-year-olds? Can you imagine them fighting, carrying arms, and being taught to kill? So how will God pursue us? How? We don't know how. When? We don't know when. And sometimes we in the church have to be careful because we can get in the way of God doing God's work. Any one of us. I can get in the way, you can get in the way of doing God's will and God's work. We don't mean to, but sometimes we do. On the Feast of the Epiphany, we pray that we will get out of the way and let God accomplish the salvation for which the world so longs. And we know the world longs for a salvation or a healing or a reconciliation. The world longs for peace. The world longs for comfort. The world longs for justice. We know that that's there. Any person on this earth longs for a peaceful way of life. And so we have to pray that we have the insight, we have the wisdom, we have the love that will transform the way we see things, even the way we see a star. Transform the way we see things, the way we hear things, the way we do things. And that somehow we live our life with a passion. And what a privilege we have being gathered here together as God's people with the absolute trust that God has provided us as a light for the world. The light of Christ shines forth in each of us. The glory of God shines forth in each of us. And there are people waiting to see that glory. There are people waiting to see that presence of God in each and every one of you. What a marvelous manifestation of God's love. Right here, gathered here, shining forth on 39th Street. And if there's somebody lost out there, they know where they can find what they're seeking. They can find it in the faces of each and every one of you, in the lives of each and every one of you. That's the story of the manifestation. So most of all, we pray today that all people might be able to seek the face of God and find it. And find it with an intensity, find it with an ingenuity, find it with a creativity. And to allow ourselves to be that creative experience in people's lives. So that our faith isn't on the margins of society, but our faith guides our society. That our faith infuses our society. That our faith infuses and empowers our culture. So that our culture in the life that we live is one that brings peace and hope to all of God's family. The Feast of the Magi reminds us of the three kings, the Gentiles, of all people. And that message needs to go out to all people. And so we have a tremendous task to do this week as you leave here today. What message will you bring this week? What gift of yourself will you bring to those most in need? Do they need to recognize the dignity of their life? Do they need to recognize the holiness of their life? Do they need to recognize that we need each other to be able to survive in this world? God bless you.